You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about the Chicago Bulls releasing their schedule, big games from across the NBA that we may be interested in, and Shannon Sharpe is actually joining First Take. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That is Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. But Pat, let's get into it. The Chicago Bulls have released their schedule. We'll talk about the national TV games and all that stuff that they have. But the real story here is they created a Pokemon style video to announce this schedule. And it was literally the greatest schedule release of all time. It's never going to be beat. It's not anything. Like, I guess maybe in 20 years when our kids are our age, they'll probably do like a Fortnite version of this and it'll be the same thing to them. But like right now, the Pokemon one, it kills it. What did you think about that release video, Pat?
It was a great release. It's top. I haven't seen all of them, so I don't know what everybody else did. It's top 5 for sure. I saw another one that was I'm trying to think. Somebody else had a really, really cool one. I can't think of whose it was right now, but I've seen a couple of them that are like really cool. I can't think of which team it was. The worst is the Pacers by far. Did you see the Pacers?
I don't check for the Pacers. No.
Hey, bro, there's like a trend on TikTok where like you just push jars downstairs with colorful liquid in it and it breaks. They did that. The Bulls was ragu.
That's corny.
With literally a TikTok square text above it. Like they made the whole thing on a cell phone, bro. Like it's terrible. So the Bulls are dominating. I love the Pokemon theme. I was very excited. It took me back to my Game Boy Color days. This is how you knew it was cold, right? This is how you knew it was cold. It was 4 minutes and like 58 seconds long?
Yeah.
At no point was I like, this is too long. Like I got to a point where I was like, we're going to go through all 82 teams like this? Okay. I'm going to be here for it. Let's keep it going. I'm going to have to watch a full-on show. Give me the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be the very best. I thought we was getting the Battle of Mewtwo in that month. Let's keep it going, man.
Look, bro, and then they had Adam Silver as the professor. Like it was literally perfect.
That one had
it
me
was
dying. When perfect. He slid in.
Yeah.
When he slid in, I was weak.
It was literally perfect. The only thing they were missing was old man Jerry at the trade deadline saying, don't bring on any more money. Like, that's the only thing that when they were passing by the February schedule, they should just had Jerry that said, do no more money. You're done. You're done.
Is Jerry just a ditto at this point? Like, just
yeah, you know what? Yeah, we could say that because him and Michael Reinsdorf are the same person. Same
guy. He said he turned it over to Michael. What we didn't know is Jerry just turns around. He's like, Michael's my middle name.
Which it is. So
is it really?
It really is.
It really is middle name, Jerry. Oh god, but no, man. I thought that was an elite schedule release, and I love the fact. Hold on, now here's what I do have to ask, right? And we're gonna talk about the big games as well, but the Wemby hype is kind of crazy right now. Like, why is Wemby making the schedule release?
I mean, because bro, like that, he's the new shiny toy around the NBA. It is what it is, bro. Like. Unfortunately, that's where we sit right now. And, you know, Jerry Reinsdorf is on some stuff, too, because Jerry Reinsdorf's name is Jerry Michael Reinsdorf. Michael's name is Michael Jerry Reinsdorf.
You might be on to something here, brother. We've never gone down this conspiracy theory. You might be on to something here, bro.
I'm telling you, it's the same. Like, I'm not saying they're the same like physical being. I think Jerry found a way to clone himself, and it's just him again, younger. Like
It's not a same person thing. It's a clone.
It's a clone. or listen, he's the alternate version. Like what is it in Marvel now? What is all the things? What variants? It's just a variant.
He's
That's
a variant.
all.
He's
From
a variant
different
from the
timeline. He
multiverse.
just went and snatched him from a different timeline. That's it.
That's crazy, bro. Not a better timeline, apparently. Like you couldn't go get the Jerry Reinsdorf that won championships in the 2000s.
No, because they're all cheap. That's one thing that stays the same. And so within the MCU, like the Wanda, the Scarlet Witch is called a Nexus being, meaning she's the exact same in every universe. Jerry's cheap in every universe. That's the one constant.
No matter what.
No matter what. If there's a universe where Jerry isn't cheap, it dies. Like it's just like, oh, we can't have this. You got to kill it.
Outside of the big games that we're going to talk about, I mean, the one thing, my one takeaway from the schedule is I do think it's a favorable schedule for the Chicago Bulls. I think that it falls pretty evenly. And there's enough stretches where I could see the Bulls gaining confidence, and we're not getting all of our right. Like we're playing the Boston Celtics back to back. Now you're gonna win one, lose one, or like you find a way to win both. I think that it's pretty spaced out, which could be good or bad for the Bulls, right? Because we could beat all the good teams, but when the Orlando Magic came to town, things got tough. So I don't know, but I feel like it was a pretty favorable schedule in favor of what the Bulls are trying to do.
I mean, it's a nice schedule for the Bulls. I will say, let's go over the national televised games here for a second. So the Bulls have 3 on ESPN, 1 on TNT, and then 3 on NBA TV. Which
NBA TV
they count it as a nationally televised game because technically you can get it all across the nation. You just got to pay for it. So.
If at any point Jim Boylan pops up on my screen, it's not a national network, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's a local cable right
Keep
there,
in mind, he does work for Team USA. So
I think he got another job as an assistant coach with somebody. I think he's on a serious bench too. I think he's on is he on Miami's bench?
No, I think it's the Pacers, honestly.
I think you're right. I think he's with Rick Carlisle right now.
Which Rick Carlisle's are strong enough. Yep, it's the Indiana Pacers. He's the assistant coach for them. So shout out to them. Hey, maybe he can help us implode from the inside. You know how like Lovey helped us get the #1 overall pick? Maybe Jim Boylan's secretly gonna help us.
Lovey got us to a Super Bowl first. Like Jim Boylan didn't even get us 30 wins.
But so the Bulls have those games. I think the biggest game, at least that I would think you're just looking at, we got Toronto and TNT. It's our only TNT game. The Bulls better win that. It's in Toronto, so the TNT Bulls streak will stay alive. Yeah. But New York in Madison Square Garden, January 3rd. I think that's a pretty big game. I know you hate the Knicks. I hate the Knicks too, but like I do recognize them as a decent team in the East.
I just think that's a game to me where what's that on? That's on ESPN?
Yeah, it's on ESPN.
It's a big game because it's an ESPN game.
Yeah.
Like if it was a regular Bulls-Knicks game, it's not a big game. It's a big game because the ESPN game, the national media gets to see you.
In Madison Square Garden.
Square Garden. Like you care more because that's going to be what the national judgment's going to be. And I'm not going to lie. Here's my thing. Just make it easier for us to fight back this year, Bulls. That's all we're looking for here. Like we want to be able to defend you a little bit better. And when you lose all the national games, that makes it really hard.
That's a fact. One of our ESPN games as well is against the Bucks. Friday night game on March 1st, which could be a nice one.
I have a cautious hot take here.
Okay.
I guess I don't think a hot take can be cautious, so maybe it's just a hot take. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks lose a lot of games last season versus teams that were kind of subpar in a couple of stretches there. And then we see them lose to the Miami Heat. Milwaukee Bucks might be heading the other direction. Not out of the playoffs, not out of the top 5 probably. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this season we saw a Bucks team that was sitting 4th or 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Still up there, right? But just like with the Bucks, in my mind, Giannis is the best player in the Eastern Conference. And so you should be number 1.
I mean, I mean, I can't fight against that, right? But I guess I'm not as down on them as you are. I still like the Bucks roster overall, and I think the Bucks are probably still going to be 1-2 in the East. I can't see because who we're looking at them and Boston, Philly, the Cavs.
I think Boston will be up there. I think the Cavs, after another year, will start to move into the right direction. I don't think they'll be dominant in the playoffs still because Donovan Mitchell playoffs that don't go together. And I think we had Miami lower, but Miami might be a little bit higher this year if the Dame trade goes through, because I think Miami's going to be one of those teams that signs all of those names that we're like, hey, what's that dude not doing in the NBA? And it's just like, oh, well, we signed DeMarcus Cousins down in Miami. You know what I mean? Like they gonna go for the guys that like are out of the league that still can play.
The Bulls come into this season with the 9th ranked hardest schedule in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we ranking that on?
I think things that go on the strength of schedule aren't just the opponents, because everybody pretty much plays each other, but it looks at the number of back-to-backs, the number of away games that are in a row, the amount of rest that you're going to have. The Bulls, once again, that we were last season as well, we're not going to have the rest advantage in a lot of these games. We have 5 different stretches of 3 or more road games in a row during the season. So
how many back-to-backs we got this year?
Let's see. I don't know if they've come out with that number, and I'm not about to count that myself. So
no. Normally that's the one that mugs sit there and break down just how many backs-to-backs there are. But backs-to-backs sounds like, never mind. Zion Williamson might be a part of it, but at the end of the day, I don't know, man. It's. I feel like this is a more favorable schedule than probably 9th, but I also haven't seen kind of where everyone else ranks either. Who's got the hardest schedule in the league this year?
Hardest schedule. Let's go back. Where was my cheat sheet? Hardest schedule in the is the Pistons, surprisingly enough.
That sucks.
I mean, that sucks for them, right? That sucks for them.
I'm not even a Detroit fan. That sucks. Again, like, how we ranking this though? Like, we ranking this on, I guess, the rest thing, right? Like, that goes into it major. Back-to-backs probably. I don't know, man. Like, that's also weird though, because remember at the end of the second half of last season, it was like, now the Bulls have like the 3rd easiest schedule in the NBA. So it's like, so okay, like we kind of got it easy, but it's still hard. I don't know.
We have 9 sets of back-to-backs this season.
Jesus.
That's a lot of back-to-backs, bro.
You counted that right?
Yeah, I counted that. Yeah, I double counted it just to make sure I wasn't off. 9 sets of back-to-backs.
That's a lot of back-to-backs,
bro. That's a lot of back-to-backs, bro. Like,
bro, I gotta go sit here and recount that myself. Not saying I don't trust you, but
hey, listen, we're a team. Please check my work.
That's a lot of back-to-backs, bro. We start the season with a back-to-back. Oh no, that's January. Never mind. Hey, look, they ain't put Lonzo Ball on it this time. Let me see here. That's tough, man. Do you have an ad read today, dog? Like
yes. Are we past the
hey, bro, so we like 13 minutes into this.
Wow. So next up, we're gonna be talking about some marquee games from around the NBA as a whole. But before we do that, gotta talk to you guys about our sponsor, and that is FanDuel. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on the Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, Pat. Did you check my work? Was I right? Is it 9 back-to-backs? Maybe I double counted one on there. It may be 8.
Hey, bro, I think you are wrong, but because I think there's 12.
Oh, crap. Well.
Hold up. I got to do my math again now.
That's a lot of back-to-backs,
hey,
brother.
Now I see why we got the 9th.
You see? Back to backs make it tough on the amount of road. And did you see all those road games that we got where it's like 4 or 5 road games in a row? Like the Bulls have a tough schedule, and it's not something that you want to overlook, man.
Yeah, bro, we got 12 back-to-backs.
12. That's crazy. That is honestly a ridiculous amount of back-to-backs.
But see, that's a lot of back-to-backs because
that's a lot of back-to-backs.
I was gonna say it's more because we have days like for us, our work schedule is gonna be great, right? Because this is how we talk about a lot of this, right? So we have a back-to-back versus Toronto, and then we got a back-to-back versus Brooklyn. Then we play Utah on a Monday, Phoenix on a Wednesday. We don't play again for 3 days. We got a back-to-back then. So like the rest is built in, but it's weird. Like there's like 4-day stretches with no games. Which I don't even know if that's an advantage. Like,
and then I noticed the NBA is doing this thing now too, which this is kind of what they do in the WNBA more. But do you see how there's a lot of times, for example, like we Orlando comes here and we face them twice on the 15th and 17th of November, but they're both games in Chicago. And then same thing with Miami. It's so whether they cutting down travel like that.
Yeah.
So teams are going to stay in the city for a couple of days and go ahead and finish. And same thing, middle of December, we go to Miami. We play both our games in Miami in back-to-back. Not back-to-back to the same day, but there's a day between it. So, I mean, the NBA is trying its best, like to really condense down the travel, which is very evident with how the schedule goes. And I honestly think that's a smart thing that the NBA is doing. I would like to see they do that more, kind of like make it almost like a homestand, like in baseball, right?
Listen, some of it.
I give it.
Some of these are dumb as heck. Like we got a home and away game. We play Golden State in Chicago. After that game, we got to fly to San Antonio to play.
And that's a back-to-back. Now that's on the 12th and 13th of January. We
got a home and away game. We play Toronto in Toronto, and then we got to fly out of Toronto to go to Charlotte.
That's tough. Yeah, they tried where they could, and then all the sensible travel goes out the window at the end of the season. Like I don't know if you look at like those last 8 games of the season.
To the Clippers,
like from Brooklyn to Minnesota. Like it's like we're gonna fly you all over.
Trying to be global out here, bro.
But outside of the Bulls, man, what are some of the games that if you got a chance to look at the general NBA schedule that you're looking the most forward to? We don't get a rematch of the finals until February 29th, the Miami Heat versus the Denver Nuggets there. We don't know what that Miami Heat team is going to look like. That's a game that I have circled on my calendar. And then, of course, we have the Spurs versus the Dallas Mavericks October 25th. So that's the first week of the season. We get to see Wemby versus Luka. So what are some of the games that stand out to you?
October 26th, early on in the season, Lakers versus Suns.
That should be a fun game.
Is LeBron and Kevin Durant a matchup that we will finally see again? We haven't seen them play against each other since 2018.
Really?
They have not played a single game against each other since 2018.
There's no way both of them are going to be healthy, dude.
In October? That's the beginning. The beginning of the year.
Nobody. It's not going to happen.
It's the beginning of the year. We can't get them healthy in October.
LeBron going to pull a hammy.
That's the one game that I really want to see because right, like you get to see Lakers versus Suns, you get to see that matchup. I think the Lakers are a better defensive team, of course, right? The Suns being a better offensive team, and are we finally going to get to see LeBron versus Kevin? And even if we do, the part that I hate is like they all shy away from each other. Like Kevin Durant's not going to go at LeBron, LeBron's not going to go at Kevin. We almost never see that anymore. So that is what it is. That's one that I have circled. And you know what? Bulls Celtics is always one that I have circled on my radar.
We always play them tough.
We always play the Celtics tough. For the most part, we've come out of those games feeling like our team is heading in the right direction. And I think kind of how both of us believe that this Bulls team is going to take a step forward this season. You know, it doesn't have to be a vast step, but winning those games this year I think is going to mean a lot more if we can win a lot of the ones that we were supposed to win last year.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. we're going to go ahead and move on. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app. Pat, one thing we got to talk about, man, we look at everything. We're creative. Shannon Sharpe, who left Undisputed, is joining ESPN to be on First Take. Now, he's going to only be on 2 times a week, at least to start. I expect that to be expanded on within the first year for sure, because Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith is definitely going to get the ratings up a lot. So what do you think about Shannon joining First Take?
I love it because I think it's somebody who's coming in to debate Stephen A. that has a more modern perspective of all the different games, but also can sit there and take it back with you because he was a part of the eras before. I like Mad Dog on the show, but Mad Dog's just he old, and I like the dynamic with Mad Dog and JJ Redick. But even to me, right, like a lot of the stuff that JJ says, I'm like, yeah, that's a very modern way to look at it. But I also don't agree 100% with that. I think Shannon kind of falls right in the middle of that. And I think that that's going to be the best dynamic to bring to the show, because at the end of the day, you know, you have to have that mix of analytics with going out there and getting the job done. I can give you all the analytics in the world to tell you that Zach LaVine's a better defender and all of this, and that don't mean he won't get blown by at the end of the day. I can tell you that, you know, what was it we were looking up the other day, right? Like Bradley Beal, when he said going back to being a top defender in the NBA and being a two-way player, we were sitting there, we was like, did we miss this time? We completely missed it. Right? There's numbers that back it up. I don't remember seeing it, but apparently we completely missed it. So I think that you have to have that balance of the numbers versus what's actually being put on the court. And I think that Shannon Sharpe will be able to bring that a little bit of objectivity to it, unless it's LeBron James. There's no objectivity with LeBron James.
And so on the flip side of that, you know, we know that Rachel Nichols and Richard Sherman are joining Undisputed.
Oh, I thought that was going somewhere else. Skio.
How did we get here? How does that happen?
How's he gonna say Stephen A? Come on, Stephen A. Come on now, Stephen A.
Come on, Stephen A. But yeah, what do you think about Richard Sherman joining Skip over at Undisputed? I like the Rachel Nichols part. She knows her stuff. I think she's going to be a fun debater. But of course, Richard Sherman's going to be there more often. What do you think about Richard Sherman? You're not worried about it? You don't? I listen, Richard Sherman, much
Here's
like
I've never been a fan of Undisputed.
Mm-hmm.
I like Shannon Sharpe. I really like Shannon Sharpe. And I like how he debates. I like how he brings his points out. I like how he does his research. I think he does a lot of deep dives and different things like that. But I'm not a fan of like the part that kept me watching Undisputed was not Skip Bayless. That's what I think the show's going to be right there. That cough. That's what the show's going to be. Dang, you just aged yourself, didn't you? You had to put your glasses on after you coughed.
I had to put my glasses on to see, because you just threw a lot of shade. I can see a little bit. I can see a little bit now.
Listen, and I give Skip credit. Here's the one part that me and Kid were talking about this earlier. Here's the part that nobody talks about with Skip. Skip put everybody you see in Skip has pretty much put them on. And Skip wants to put people in position to succeed. I fully believe that. He put Stephen A on, right? But at the end of the day, Skip has gotten to the point where he don't know where the line is. And I think he got to that point with Shannon. I think he'll get to that point with Richard. I think he'll get to that point with Rachel. He got to that point with who was the young lady who was the host of the show with them before?
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name. And where basically, you know, he was just like, you know, kind of stay in your place. Like there's that line that Skip don't know not to cross. And I think in his old age, he's a habitual line stepper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he started to be a habitual line stepper really once First Take really hit its pinnacle. You could tell he started. You know what? And I'm going to say this. The culture got to stop co-signing Skip Bayless, bro. Like, we got to stop. Like, Skip gets too many passes.
Co-signing Skip?
Lil Wayne. co-signed Skip Bayless, and that relationship with Lil Wayne is exactly when Skip Bayless felt like he could start going and having conversations and talking to people in a way that Skip Bayless just ain't ready for. Between that and him having the same damn pair of Jordans he pulls out every time he wants to show off and act like he's a sneakerhead, it's literally that was when it started going left.
Here's the thing, though, and this is it's tough to say, right? Is Lil Wayne the culture? Like, I think Lil Wayne is a culture setter, but I don't think he's the culture because, like, Lil Wayne lives in Lil Wayne's world.
True,
Lil Wayne has no idea what's going on outside in mind, though. World.
Lil Wayne, for the uninitiated, the unaware, the people who don't actually pay attention, yes, he is the culture for them. Like, it just is. We have a whole generation of rappers who look exactly like Lil Wayne.
You just call Lil Wayne the black friend? Is that what you just did?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love black people. Like,
exactly. Lil Wayne's my friend. What do you mean? I can call up Lil Wayne right now.
Yo, that's funny, dog. Nah, I don't know. Like, I love Wayne. Listen, best rapper alive, in my opinion. It is what it is. Argue with your mama, not me. But for me,
listen, I went back and listened to his freestyle on "Give Me What You Got," and like, it's just so like Lil Wayne literally dropped bars that still to this day. Keep in mind, I've been a Lil Wayne fan literally since I was 14 years old. Yeah. When I had to sneak having a Lil Wayne album because my dad didn't let. The only rapper I was able to listen to for a while there was Ice Cube.
Oh,
and Tupac.
Ice Cube.
My dad's a huge Ice Cube fan, like legitimately. My dad could 100 bars and running, my dad can spit it the whole way through, bro. I'm telling you right now. And you've seen my pops.
I'm just thrown off by the fact that it was okay for you to listen to Ice Cube, but not Lil Wayne, because it's just like.
At that point in time, it's when he was doing the switch from Gangsta Ice Cube to he was in Family Movie. So it was like.
So it was okay?
It was okay.
So you sitting there watching Are We There Yet while listening to No Vaseline is what you're saying. That's what was going on.
Not at the same time. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I'm glad y'all set it off.
Yeah, but anyway, go back to what your point was.
I don't know what it was anymore. I don't even know how we got here, dog. Ice Cube, like the fact that you could vibe to Ice Cube, but not Lil Wayne. Like Ice Cube was just out here Will Smith rapping. You know what I mean? Like it was a very different thing.
You know what? Come on, man. You know my pops. Like he saw the tattoos on the face. He was like, "Oh nope, let me get that one." You can't listen.
I can't do it.
Can't do
it.
Can't do it.
Well, it's better than my dad. My dad didn't want me listening to hip hop at all. So, you know.
Hey, listen.
He tried to deter me by reading the lyrics out loud, which I'm going to tell you something. If you ever want to have a cringeworthy moment, have a 45-year-old white man read Lil Wayne Pop Bottles.
No, you want to have a cringe moment. Have your 50-year-old mama singing Skeet, Skeet, Skeet. And not know what it means. And then I'm literally like, hey, mom, by the way, do you know what skeet means? She was like, what? Yeah, like the sweat, right? Because he said the sweat was because she only listened to the censored version. I was like, mom, that's not what skeet means. And she was like, what do you think it means? It's like, I need you to think about it for a second. And she was like, I don't know. I was like, can I say it? She's like, yeah, you have free will to say. I said, he is talking about. And she said, wait, what?
Oh, yeah. To the windows. Yep.
And then the time I had to explain hold your head steady while milk the cow to my uncle because he was singing that lyric. And I was like, hey, Unc, you may not want to do that, bro.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, that's tough. That's you had some tough moments there for sure.
Very awkward.
Breaking down tough moments in mixed households. Welcome into Locked On Mixed.
Locked On Mixed. This show's Jump the Shark. That's it. You know, we always get to that moment where we know it's time to end the show. We've now gotten there.
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer.
I really don't know how we get into some of the stuff we get into, but you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every single day for Pat The Designer. This has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out, y'all. Make sure y'all go to Bulls Fest, man. Peace, y'all.
See y'all at Bulls Fest.